Well, good morning.
Good
And Merry
morning.
Christmas.
Yeah, it's just about.
'Tis the season. I've been down to Woolies and they've got Christmas stuff everywhere.
The bad thing is that times travel so fast that we're
Yeah.
almost at Christmas, and the good thing is that 2020 is almost done.
2020
Yes.
is behind it. I heard you say the other day, Dave, that you were going to definitely stay up till midnight on New Year's Eve just to make sure that 2020 is behind
Oh,
us.
yeah, we want it to
But
go.
yeah, and I've got to say, since we've had a few renovations in the offices, we've moved out here into the piano lounge, and I'm loving it. I think it's a much nicer venue than our usual air conditioning ducts behind us. So yeah, hey Dave, I've got a question. The last few years, in fact, we've probably heard it more often in the last decade or so. There's always somebody around Christmas time, some Christian that says we shouldn't be having Christmas. Because, like you shouldn't be having Christmas, celebration of Christmas isn't right. What is that all about?
Yeah, I
Why
guess
do they-
that's a good thing to.
Because I love Christmas.
Yeah.
It mortified me. I thought, we've got to have Christmas. What are they? But I don't want to offend the Lord. So what are they on about, Dave?
Well, first of all, before we go totally there, could I just deal with another little thing that's tied in with that? It's a little side issue, but because our Christmas time is very closely associated to the time when the Jewish people have Hanukkah.
I've heard of Hanukkah,
Yep.
yes.
And some Christians say that what we should be doing is not celebrating Christmas, but join with the Jewish people and celebrate Hanukkah. Now,
What about that?
I love my Jewish roots, as you know.
I do. Dr. David here is he reads Hebrew. He loves the Old. He's an Old Testament specialist.
And the Old Testament, after all, is a Jewish holy book, and we do worship the same God. So there's good stuff there.
Sure.
So would that make Hanukkah a reasonable alternative to Christmas? Because if it is, we can just forget about Christmas and avoid all the issues, all the arguments and the things that people say around the 25th of December.
Yeah, I don't know though. They are two very different
Well,
things, aren't they?
yeah, Hanukkah is a Jewish feast that goes over 8 nights or 8 days. It commences on Kislev, their calendar, Kislev 25, which is around about December. So it often overlaps with our Christmas period. This year
So,
it runs
yeah,
from 10 to the 18th of December.
I was
so
going to ask,
it's a
when
week
is
early.
it going to be this year? So, okay, between the 10th and the 18th, did you say? Yeah, okay.
So around 200 BC, the land of Israel was captured by Antiochus III, who was the king of Syria.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a bad bloke. He allowed the Jews who lived in Jerusalem or in the whole of Israel to continue to practice
he
their
did.
religion and so forth. But when he died, his son Antiochus IV, or Epiphanes as he was known, was not quite
Yeah.
as generous.
In fact, if you want to read about that, that's in the book of Maccabees,
Yep.
in the Apocrypha.
Yep.
But yes, he was a bad man, Antiochus Epiphanes.
Yeah, he banned Judaism and ordered the Jews to worship Greek gods. And of course, the Jews didn't exactly want to comply, and they resisted. In 168 BC, he sent in his army, and they stormed in Jerusalem, massacred thousands of people, and then desecrated the temple
That's
by
right.
erecting an altar to Zeus.
In fact, that was called, and Jesus referred to it by name, the abomination
Yeah,
that
it
causes
was.
desolation. That's the Zeus thing that he set up in the temple.
And he sacrificed pigs,
Ooh.
which is just not done.
Yeah, you don't do that.
So the priest, or one of the priests in Jerusalem, a fellow named Matthias, who had survived the massacre, together with his 5 sons, led a rebellion. And they relied largely on what we'd probably these days call guerrilla warfare tactics.
Yeah.
He died in 166, but his son, who was known as Judas Maccabees,
Yeah.
Judas the Hammer,
Yeah, that's who Maccabees is
yeah.
named after, him. Yeah.
and he took the helm, and within a couple of years, he had successfully
Yeah.
driven out the Syrians
Yeah.
out of the temple. He'd reclaimed the temple, and then he got his followers to cleanse it, to rebuild the
Yeah.
altar, and reintroduce sacrifices and light the menorah, and that's the big one. The 7 branches represented knowledge and creation, and they should have been kept burning constantly. But when they went to light the menorah in the temple, they found there was only 1 cruse of oil that had not been contaminated
Wow.
by the Greeks. And so that's only enough really for one day.
Yeah.
but somehow he lit it, and somehow those candles burned for the full 8 days.
Which gave them enough time
to
to
get a
prepare
new
some
batch.
more oil.
Yeah, and make it pure and so forth. And this was seen as a miracle from God, and it probably was.
Absolutely, I would say that's a miracle.
And that's what Hanukkah actually celebrates. It celebrates the rededication of the temple, the reintroduction of sacrifice, and the miracle of the menorah, that's sometimes called the Festival of Light.
Yeah.
So is Hanukkah a good substitute for Christians for Christmas? No.
It's
I
a
don't think so.
celebration for the Jewish people. It's a celebration of a period of time of great national pride when the Maccabees were able to defeat Syria. But it's you're going to reinstate sacrifices.
That's it. Why would we, as Christians, want to celebrate the reintroduction of sacrifice?
Because Jesus
came to abolish.
He got rid of that, right? Yeah. So we wouldn't want to celebrate
So
that.
I don't think
Not as Christians.
I don't think it's a substitute for Christmas.
No.
If Christians don't want to celebrate Christmas, that's fine. But don't try and replace it with something that essentially celebrates the very thing that Jesus put an end to. So, should we celebrate Christmas anyway?
I'm really hoping it's a yes, because I love Christmas.
Well, some Christians are very definite about it. They say, no, we shouldn't. And some have had a very strong opinion on that. So back in 1659, the Puritans who governed Massachusetts in America, they actually banned the celebration of Christmas. For 20 years, it was illegal to celebrate Christmas.
Imagine that. Killjoys.
Yeah.
They just don't want to have fun.
That's it. One of the main objections that the 25th of December was a pagan festival.
Now, I've heard that, yes.
It was the winter solstice.
Right. So they say, well, this isn't legitimate because it's pagan.
Yep.
But now because not it's pagan, but we celebrate Christmas. We celebrate the birth of Jesus on a holiday that used to be a pagan holiday, or on a day that they used to use.
Yep.
So we've basically hijacked their holiday.
Well, when Christianity became the state religion, they simply repurposed the day and it became the birth of Christ. Now, that's essentially true enough, but one of the essential...
It's almost like they're trying to repay the favour now, aren't they? They're trying to take Christmas back for the hedonists and capitalism.
Yeah.
Sell more stuff, so we can't complain both ways, can we? Anyway. Anyway.
One of the essential doctrines of Christianity, in my mind anyway, is redemption. God redeems. He buys back. He redeemed fallen humanity.
Yeah.
So God is a God who redeems. So I have absolutely no problem with him redeeming a date or a festival. The date isn't special. It's what you do on the date that's important. So if Christians choose to remember and celebrate the story of Christ coming to redeem us, I don't particularly care whether the particular day that they choose happened to be a pagan holiday in the past.
In fact, that's kind of cool. Like, let's redeem that holiday.
Yeah.
Let's take it out of the devil's hands, if you like, and bring it back into God's camp.
If we start to avoid pagan days, if we can't worship on a day because it has pagan origins, then we have a little bit of a problem.
We do.
Sunday is named after the sun god, Monday after the moon, so that one's probably all right. Tuesday from Tu, the Norse god of war. Wednesday,
so you can't do anything on Tuesday.
Nor Wednesday,
or
because
Wednesday
is Odin, the supreme deity. Thursday from Thor, the god of thunder.
I love that movie, by the way.
Yeah. Friday, Frigga, the god or goddess actually, of love and beauty. Saturday from Saturn, the ancient Roman god of fun and feasting.
So that doesn't. We can't. All the days of the week are named after.
Monday's the best we can go.
The moon god.
To make it worse, the months of the year look pretty bad as well. January takes its name from Janus, the Roman god of beginnings, and then it's February from February.
We're sunk.
The purification of the pagan rites that they had. March belongs to Mars, the Roman god of all.
I thought it was the chocolate bar, but anyway.
April, Aphrodite gets a look in. The nymph Maya was assimilated with the earth and so forth. She gave her name to May.
May, yeah.
Juno, the goddess of war and women.
Julius Caesar.
Julius Caesar, he was born...
for July, right?
For July, and Augustus named August after September and December or September to December.
Yeah, October, because September would be
They're simply
8,
they're simply months that are numbered.
Oct being 9,
they
yeah.
change.
So they're just
So-
numbers.
so there we
Yeah,
go.
September,
So-
October, November,
So
December.
it would be okay for us to worship from September to December, but
Only on a Monday.
Mondays.
If you don't mind the moon.
Yeah, and of course all that's crazy.
Yes.
But if we're to be consistent in not using days associated with pagan gods or rituals, that's where we'd have to go.
we would be in trouble because everything's named after
it's just
pagan gods and
crazy,
symbols.
yeah. So I'm happy to celebrate the birth of Jesus, even on a day that was once used by pagans
Yeah.
for another purpose. Their purpose is not my purpose.
No.
And just because we each do something on the same day, it doesn't mean that the Christians' use of that day is in some way tainted.
Yeah.
I hate to think what some people do on a Sunday. Paul went to the extent of saying that it's okay for Christians even to eat meat that was
That's right.
sacrificed to idols. Why? Well, because the Christians didn't respect or honour the deity or the idol by
Yeah.
eating the meat. So the heart's clean. So it's fine. Paul said it's fine.
Because they're not actual gods, everybody. They're just, so he's like, it's okay. You can do that as long as,
And who knows
as
what?
long as you're not worshipping that god.
That's it. Who knows what ceremonial rites were offered with the sacrifice? Who knows? And
Yeah.
Paul says, who cares?
Who cares?
That's it. So we could go into the abominations of the pagans, their sacrifices, their temple prostitution, their wicked practices with all of the other man-made gods in reality who are worshipping the devil and the like. We could simply use our imaginations about this, and in some cases our imagination would be graphic enough to consider what the heathen idolatrous deeds really were. They were living against God. But Paul said, it's okay, eat the meat if you're hungry, even though the meat had been pagan in origins, he says, that's okay.
So just to be clear, this is when you go to the market and you buy, your Scotch fillet, and people used to say, well, what if that cow had been sacrificed? Oh, I didn't know that. I was just buying the Scotch fillet. What if? And Paul's saying, don't worry about it. Don't be silly. You can eat the meat. You don't worship that God. It doesn't matter. So it was the way they slaughtered the animals was often part of a ceremony, but the person who's buying the meat isn't to know that.
No, and
it doesn't matter.
As far as I'm concerned, it's just not an issue to have Christmas on the same day as others use it for different purposes.
So that's the point, isn't it? Christmas, whether it's a day, which it was, it was a pagan winter solstice celebration, and we have essentially hijacked it and redeemed that day for Jesus, which I think is pretty cool.
I reckon that's good. It's certainly true that Jesus wasn't born in December.
No.
I think it's very unlikely. Probably September is more likely. But that's not much different to other customs that we have. The Queen was actually born in April.
Yeah.
But in Australia, most states celebrate the Queen's birthday in June. Queensland wants to be different, so we manage an October date, and Western Australia goes September.
Yes, none of us are in April, though.
No.
Her actual month,
That's it.
yes.
And what's more, when the Queen became Queen, the Queen's birthday happened to be exactly the same as the King's birthday
The
before.
same
It's
day.
just the same
Yeah,
date.
pick a day.
It's simply a date that is selected to celebrate the birth of the monarch. And that's basically the way it works with Christmas. We pick a day, and that's the day we celebrate his birth. Some argue that Christmas is never mentioned in the Bible, and therefore we shouldn't observe it. But
There's a lot of things that aren't mentioned in the Bible
it's
that
a
we
pretty
still
hollow
observe.
argument. Technology, church buildings, for example, Sunday schools, youth groups. I don't think Easter even actually gets a tag as such.
Yeah, not specifically, right?
But that doesn't mean that we should not endorse the practice of celebrating those things. Christmas is a celebration of the reality that a child was born and a son was given. It reminds us that the King of Glory, the creator of the whole universe, came in human form, born as a helpless child in poor circumstances. Of course, Christmas would be inconsequential if Easter didn't happen.
Correct.
But then, of course, Easter couldn't happen
Without Christmas.
happening first.
Yeah.
So, in reality, Christmas and Easter are a sort of summary of the whole of the Christian message, and I think they're both worthy of note and indeed celebration. When you look back at the birth of Christ, there was certainly a degree of celebration that happened when he was actually born.
So there's a precedent for us, right?
Absolutely.
There was angels singing glory and hallelujah from
I
on
thought it was so
high.
important he sent an angel to announce the birth of Christ.
Yeah, that's
and
a
the
big
angels
celebration.
filled the heavens and sang furiously.
And the shepherds, they came in to celebrate. The kings or the wise, the magi, the wise men, they brought gifts.
And that sounds like a real celebration of a birthday.
It does.
So there was celebration on earth. I reckon there was probably celebration in heaven when Jesus was born. So it doesn't seem inappropriate at all for me anyway
that's
to
good news.
continue with that celebration today.
Yeah.
To me, the fact that Christ came into the world to save sinners, as Paul said in 1 Timothy, is surely worth celebrating.
Celebrating, for
So,
sure.
I have no problems at all with it. I know that some people don't like that, and I respect their view.
Sure.
And they can just simply not observe Christmas if that's what they choose to do, but don't take it off the rest of us, because we actually want to celebrate Christ, and it's also a great opportunity to celebrate family. And the one other thing that's really important, it's a time when the whole world is open to hear the message of the gospel.
Absolutely.
It's Christmas, so we have an opportunity to share that Christ came in a way that we don't at any other time of the year.
Yeah.
So don't try and pinch it off me, I'm going to use it.
Yeah, but as Dave said, we respect your right to, to have an opinion on this that's a little different, and no one's denying that once upon a time it was a pagan festival on that particular day that we have redeemed, and so we want to pray that this Christmas, God, the God of redemption, that Jesus, the child who came to save the world, would touch your heart, and that you would have a great fresh revelation of him this Christmas, and so would your family. A lot of people will go to church on Christmas just because it's Christmas, and it's a great opportunity for you to invite them and say, why don't you come and help us, celebrate the birth of Christ. It is his birthday that we're celebrating, so, and ask them to come along, and you'll be surprised how many people who may never darken the door of a church may well come along and learn something and actually get touched by, the faith, your faith, and the faith of those around you. So have a really good week and a great Merry Christmas. Next week, we're going to be talking about Santa Claus. So tune in for that one. God bless you, everybody.
Cheers.